In the previous talk or in the previous discussion, we came to understand the laws of Mendel. They are law of dominance and recessiveness, law of segregation of factors or purity of gametes, and law of independent assignment. In continuation with that, another part is incomplete dominance, that is deviation from Mendel's laws. As we know, the law of dominance or the concept of dominance formulated by Mendel is not universal in application. What it states, the concept of Mendel, that is law of dominance, when homozygous individuals with one or more sets of contrasting characters were crossed, during the character which is appeared in F1 generation is called dominant, and the character which is not appeared in F1 generation is called recessive. That is law of dominance and recessiveness. This is not universal in application as reported by many workers. That is incomplete in F1 generation. They told by conducting many experiments. It is due to the failure of the dominant gene to mask the expression of recessive gene. So what it states about the incomplete dominance or partial dominance or semi-dominance, or it is also called blended inheritance. So the process in which dominant and recessive genes are equally expressed, to produce an intermediate trait. Neither dominant character is appeared nor recessive character is appeared in the generations. You are going to find a new trait, new character that is intermediate to dominant and recessive characters. This is called incomplete dominance or blended inheritance. The process in which dominant and recessive genes are equally expressed to produce an intermediate trait. Is called the incomplete dominance, or in other words, the process in which dominant gene is partially dominant, not completely dominant. It is partially dominant over the recessive gene, to produce an intermediate phenotype. It is called incomplete dominance. So how it is possible? That we're going to discuss by taking one example, that is Mirabilis jalapa. Or it is also called 4 o'clock plant, madhyana mallige anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So what are the workers? It was first identified and explained or introduced by Carl Carens in Mirabilis jalapa or in 4 o'clock plant. When he crossed homozygous red flowered plants with homozygous white flowered plants. According to Mendel, according to law of dominance and recessive, what has to be appeared in F1 generation? all the plants with red colored flowers, and they are all heterozygous, but that condition is not appeared. In F1 generation, all the plants with pink colored flowers were resulted. Why it is so? The dominant gene, red colored gene, is failed to mask the expression of a recessive gene that is white. Both are mixed, produces an intermediate phenotype that is pink colored flowers. Means when homozygous red flowered plants crossed with homozygous white flowered plants. Homozygous red, capital R, capital R. Homozygous white, small r, small r. Both are homozygous, produces only one type of gamete, resulting in this hybrid with the genotype capital R, small r. Actually, according to law of dominance, the color must be red and heterozygous. But here we will get pink colored flowers in F1. Pink is an intermediate character between red and white. It is due to incomplete dominance or due to partial dominant. When these F1 hybrids were selfed, F1 with F1, pink colored flowers with pink colored flowers, produces two types of gametes, capital R, small r, capital R, small r, resulting in F2 hybrids, that is capital R, capital R, capital R, small r, capital R, small r, small r, small r. This is F2 generation, where 25% homozygous red, 50% heterozygous pink, and 25% homozygous white. So the ratio of incomplete dominance or blended inheritance is 1:2:1, that is phenotypic as well as genotypic ratio is same, 1:2:1. This is the incomplete dominance or the blended inheritance. So the next aspect concerned with Mendel and his experiment. Let us see the different terms and terminology used in Mendelian genetics or used in the classical genetics. In that, the first term is gene. First term is gene. Gene is a segment of DNA, unit of DNA, a part of DNA, and that is responsible for the appearance and inheritance of a character in an individual. It is a segment, it is a part of DNA, and it is responsible for the appearance of a character. Whatever the character that we have, it is mainly due to the expression of these genes. Due to the expression of these genes, ವಂಶವಾಹಿಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Next, allele or allelomorph. Allele or allelomorph. Allele means the alternative form of a single gene. Alternative form of a single gene located on a particular locus on the homologous chromosome. For example, if we consider the length of the plant, it is one character. It has got two forms. One is tall, another one is short. One is tall, another one is short. These two forms are called alleles. Understand? In case of human beings, about the hair, color of the hair, black, gray. Nature of the hair, curly, straight. About eye color, cat eyes, blue eyes. About skin, normal skin and albino skin. These are the forms of one character, and those forms of the character are called alleles or allelomorphs. Alleles or allelomorphs. And after that, next is homozygous and heterozygous. Homozygous and heterozygous conditions. Homozygous, an individual or if an organism contains identical genes for a particular character is called homozygous. Homozygous. Homo means the same. Zygous means zygote. If an individual or if an organism contains identical genes for a character is called homozygous. For that, for example, capital T, it is homozygous. Small t, it is homozygous. Capital R, small r, it is homozygous. Capital R, it is homozygous. Capital Y, it is homozygous. Like this. If an individual contains identical genes, T for tallness, small t for shortness, R for round, red, Y for yellow, like this. This is homozygous. Heterozygous. Individuals contains non-identical genes for a character. Individual contains non-identical genes for a character. For example, capital T, small t. Capital T for tallness, small t for shortness. Capital R, small r. Capital R for round, small r for wrinkled. This, like this, if an individual contains non-identical genes for a character, then it is called heterozygous. Okay, we'll continue with the terms and terminology in the next video.